It is Monday, July 29th, 2019. In today's episode, we're going to look at this big bearish Ichimoku. After we go through our indicators, the relative strength index, the on-balance volume, and the MACD indicator, we'll take a look at the Ichimoku Cloud, and then we're going to go into some more detail of Bitcoin dominance and see what's going on with that and why I think altcoins are going to be taking off. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show some inside work to what we're doing with the cryptocurrencies on this episode of the 24 Hours of Bitcoin. You can pause the video to read through the disclaimer, and we're going to jump into the charts and take a look at the overall picture. Then we'll get into our indicators. So we're looking at the 5-minute bars. Bitcoin has been really nasty to the high leverage traders who are jumping on either direction. They're getting wrecked here. And as we zoom out on this, I'm going to go right out to the 4-hour time frame. So we're getting a look at the longer term uptrend, and this uptrend line has been broken. So for me, this is a potential 1, 2, 3 top formation, and it really has to work hard to turn around to be a 1, 2, 3 bottom formation and a trend continuation. It's got to stage up above this trend line and then stage up above that again before I'm actually believing it. It's got to be above $11,000 now and stage above that and show a strength hitting back off of that $11,000 from the top side. So all of this looks negative for me just from the trend line, just from where we are, and it's complete speculation. That's why we're going through this in detail so that we can uncover what our indicators are saying throughout this whole period. So we'll start off with the relative strength index on the weekly view. We can see here that it has dipped down and given us a bit of a break from the downtrend, but not given us the pointy triangle that I want. This isn't holding any water. That's just going to be sliding off. Instead, what we're looking for is two things in the weekly RSI. We've been watching for it for all year, is the coming back to touch this trend line. Second of all, I want to see it touch the trend line in a sharp pointed triangle, probably where it's been doing it before in the past. And the reason I want to look at that is because that is where Bitcoin bottomed and went up, bottomed and went up. And each one of those RSI points on the long term is really key. So we're just observing that and watching it unfold. In the daily time frame, the RSI kind of looks weak and fading off here. It's not oversold, it's not overbought, it's not giving us a divergence here on the end on the right hand side. So let's zoom into the 12-hour time frame. A little bit of a divergence, a bit of strength there, but nothing jumping out at me as a bearish or bullish divergence and change around. We have the bottom here on some pretty good oversold territory, and it's pulled up a little bit, but this is really stretching it to say that this is a turnaround that is bullish. Even here, as I'm watching and I'm looking for bullish divergences, I'm looking for it to say, is it different than the price? It kind of broke and is laid down, and again, I'm going to go into the 1, 2, 3 formations because they are the only thing that's real in the chart for me. This makes a high, it comes down, it tries to go higher and fails that test. That is a signal right there. That's a failed retest of a recent high or low. On any time scale, this is a really important chart formation. You can put your Fibonacci's anywhere you want. You can put your trend lines where you want. You can change your moving averages so they fit your chart the way you want. All of those things are really subjective, but when you have a 1, 2, 3 formation that breaks, now it's time for your risk control rules and your position size strategies to be played out. What are we looking at here? The 1 hour and the RSI. A little bit off track there. Let's go into the on-balance volume and the weekly view. It's easing off on this shoulder. We got an arrow poking up there. We've got weaker and weaker and weaker as we're going along through this side. It's just not giving us positive on-balance volume. And we can see that there is this divergence I talk about each time we go through it. And I'm not seeing the on-balance buying coming in. It's just not switching to positive here. And as we're zooming in on the 4-hour time frame, I'm expecting to see some buying coming in a little bit, and we're not seeing it. Zoom into the, 1-hour time frame. And you can see where I've got some arrows laid in here, but they're actually for the 15-minute bar time frame where I'm sitting here watching this chart. It's sort of open and I'm watching it go because it's got to go to positive before this can break higher. And if this continues to dump on balance negative, we are watching this formation unfold and the trading signal unfold out of this little 1, 2, 3 top formation in this range. Let's go on and get some more confirmation, because the weekly MACD indicator is one of my favorites. And it is coming to cross. We're coming down to flat. That doesn't mean we're done yet, because it's come down to almost crossing and almost crossing in the past when the histogram came down to almost going negative. So it's not definitive yet, but we're certainly something to keep an eye on right now. In the weekly, this is the biggest time frame. That we'll get some confirmation in the daily. This has to switch, crossover, and go to a positive histogram here for that weekly to switch back. Let's go to the weekly again. For the weekly to prevent itself from going down to negative, which would be a crossover and a continuation of going down. It's proving that we have a crossover and it's going negative. It's proving that we're not yet bouncing, but that we are going down further yet, and we need to see what's going on with that. The daily, if this continues on down the way we are, prices are going to continue to go down. We'll watch how this unfolds, just like this one did. The histogram went negative for quite a while before it had a crossover that we could say was our bottom and come up. We don't know which one we're coming into, but we're just comparing these to be aware that this doesn't look like it's turning around and going positive yet. Whoops. The 12-hour time frame. Crossed over, looking for something. But if these histograms continue to stretch back negative and this widens and flares out, that's confirmation of the down. If it crosses over and goes positive, this is some of the first of the longer term time frame that would be switching us around to continuing on the bullish move, but I'm not expecting it. That's my bias, and that's why. Anyway, crossing over here, crossing more positive and more positive. This is actually bullish. Crossing over positive. We've got a positive divergence here. So on the 4-hour time frame, it is giving us a bullish. On the 12-hour, it's almost crossing over. The day, it's not crossing over yet, and the weekly needs the day to cross over. So we're just watching at the front now. So the 4-hour showed us some positive, but the 1 hour is losing it right at the very tip here. So the 4 hour is holding a bit, but it'll cross back to negative. Let's go back. But if this crosses to negative and the histogram goes to negative on the 4-hour, that's going to be more confirmation, and it'll confirm what the 1 hour is already telling us. So I like this indicator because you can really see it unfold. If you're imagining a snake going forward, the head moves one direction and then the body follows all the way along. It's the same with these, where we see it in the short-term time frame, and then in the longer and longer time frames it unfolds for us. Now we're going to go through the Ichimoku, and then we're going to do the Bitcoin dominance in a new way that I haven't gone through it before. Now the Ichimoku is still looking positive here. It hasn't crossed to negative. We haven't got the, it's still, but this would stay positive even if prices came back quite a ways. This gives you a lot more range in the movement of the prices. The daily, however, is crossed over already. We have the crossover of the conversion line over the baseline. It's gone through the cloud, and we have a twist to the negative on the cloud as well. So it's got a lot of work to do to get back above this cloud and not be a sell signal in a downtrend. Anytime it comes up here and hesitates, that's a sell signal in a downtrend already. So in the 3-month view, we can see that we had the crossover earlier. It's still negative. It's giving us that sell signal in a downtrend. If it comes up here and hesitates, it's another sell signal in a downtrend, even coming up. And remember our long-term trend line here. So the Ichimoku Cloud is really supporting that it's got to come back up and break above that trend line and then stage up to get back into a bullish Ichimoku. On the 4-hour time frame, negative crossover. Again, it's coming up, giving a sell signal in the downtrend, sell signal into downtrend. I love the Ichimoku for this. The 1-hour time frame actually broke to the positive, whipped around quite a bit here in this last while. So by trading in these short time frames, you are opening yourself up to becoming whale food. It is definitely detrimental. And I'll go back to this chart, open it up to the daily view, and just review these price ranges. It's always a good idea to trade so that your position is small enough that you could take these ranges and it doesn't bother you. It's okay. These are normal daily ranges, and that should be, your position size should be small enough that these daily ranges are not going to take you out. And if you're high enough leverage that these daily ranges are killing you, then you need to step back and try a wider time frame. Now, I could go on about that, but I want to go through this indicator the same way. We're looking at the Bitcoin dominance, and I'm looking at the RSI getting stronger and stronger, but look how overbought this is now. Overbought, overbought, overbought. Every time it gets up to this overbought in the weekly view for the Bitcoin dominance, it is a top. We're at a top right now, according to this. Let's go into the daily view on this Bitcoin dominance, the same thing. And I didn't look at this before. Now it brings a smile to my face to grab this live. Let me see if I can do this. Where, look at this divergence. We have a higher high, but we have a lower high in the RSI. That is like a rhyme we should make up. Moving into the 6-month view here again, there's that divergence. Really nice, right at this top. I love to see it. Glad to record it. I can't wait to see how this plays out. This chart is notorious for loading up slowly when you zoom in. So I'm going to go to the next view. We're looking at the MACD indicator, and it's crossed positive. It's not going negative from this weekly view. It's still positive, and haven't seen it go any higher than this. This is the highest it's been. So now I guess I'm watching for the histogram to be easing off on a weekly basis. That's our first sign of weakness. So that the histogram is easing off on this weekly is significant. You can see where I'm expecting some different moves in the future. Let's go over to the 1-day view. This is already crossed. Really nice. Crossed right at this top. This is a leading indicator that it's crossed while this top is happening is fantastic. So long as the histograms stay at this range and they don't start working their way back up this way and we get a crossover anytime before this goes down below. Right? It needs to go all the way down now for the altcoins to be taking off. Then the altcoins will be blasting off, and that's what we're going to finish with. First, there's the weekly view of the Bitcoin dominance using the Ichimoku Cloud. It's way above the cloud. We haven't seen it cross over to the negative yet. Go over to the 1-day view. It's way above the cloud, and we haven't seen the crossover yet, but that blue line, when it crosses the red line, we'll probably see a 1, 2, 3 top formation. That's what we're watching for, but this isn't bearish yet on the daily view. 6-month view, it is bearish. Now we have crossed through the cloud. We have the crossover of the conversion line over the baseline back here, and they're getting close together again here, actually. If I zoom right in on this, come on now. They are close, but they have not crossed over. The blue line is still below the red line. So should that flare negative again, that'll confirm that the Bitcoin dominance is coming down, not a sell signal. 4-hour time frame. Let's zoom in a little bit to the 2-hour time frame, and this is where this chart screws up. It just needs more time to load up when we get into that time frame. Now, what we're doing with the altcoins is revealed in this chart right here. This chart shows us the bullishness and bearishness ratio. Yellow and green are bullish, orange and red are bearish, and white is neutral. So that we've had a big increase in neutral coins. They're getting ready to go onto the bull market, but we've had a whole bunch change to alert status now the last little while. A few of them are turning into hold status, but the whole market is turning around to alert status. Not quite bullish yet, but we're studying it and we're following along. And if you're interested in that, let me put this in the chat. You can go over to introtocryptos.ca/alerts and what is going on here? There's a link. You can go to /alerts, and this will bring you up to this page that we're looking at here. So you can see what are our pro alerts up to right now. Here's a window inside to the profitable trades that we've already got in our hold status. 21% in Theta, Nano, Lisk, FTM, CIS, AGI. Doing some great trades here. There are 14 profitable entries. You can catch up on our videos, and you can also look in to see which are the alerts that have just been triggered in our new beta crypto trade alerts blog. And you can find that link down below on that page where you can zoom into each of the different alerts that we are putting out. This is just a test blog to see how these alert signals work out. And you can do some tag surfing here to see what our alerts have been and for each of these different coins and follow along their history. Hopefully this is helpful for you. I appreciate you guys being along. Let's zoom into what Bitcoin is doing right this minute. Still uncertain, undecided. I think it's going down, but we'll have to wait for it to give us the signal. And then the alts should be on a big party. We'll have to see how that plays out as well. Thanks again. I wish you all the best in your Bitcoin trading. And now I'd like to close with a thank you for the people who are supporting this channel. Cheers.